Culture over culture, you're welcome to the Irish at home and abroad. On this evening's programme, I'll be heading along to Swinford for the launch of the annual Síomsa Shráide Festival. Alan Williams is in the gym this week and he's talking about the dreaded weighing scales. We'll also be visiting Gilligan's Pub in Claremorris. But first, we're off to the lovely village of Geesala in North Mayo along the wild Atlantic Way for the opening of their brand new community centre.
This building we're in now, we're standing here in the old National School, the rooms of the old National School, and we decided to do up the old school and make a community centre out of it. And we built a new hall at the back where the boxers has been training for the last 30 years. And then about 10 years ago we started this project, and it took us about 10 years to put this together, but at last it's here, and as someone said, it's wonderful to be opening this evening.
So what kind of facilities have you here in the new building now?
In the new building here, we have this fine room here now, which is going to be a visitor centre, and it's going to be for everything in the community, for all sorts of social events, for classes or whatever is needed. And it's also on, it's on the theme, it's on the theme of the Playboy of the Western World, Jonathan Milton's famous play. So we're going to create a visitor centre here for the Wild Atlantic Way, and hopefully we'll get people to stop. And we have shower rooms, dressing rooms down the back that anybody could use, and it's also for the boxers and for any other clubs that wishes to use it in the community.
It's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day for this area, a very famous area you're in here now, because it was in this beautiful area here that the Playboy of the Western World was written by John Milton Synge. We're famous for politics. We're famous for boxing. We have had boxing, if you look at the wall there, you have Ciara Ginty, world champion, you have Donald Barrett, world champion, and you have Henry Coyle, world champion. Unique any place in the world. 95 All-Ireland champions from that little boxing club in there. You know, it's an amazing night, it's an amazing day. It hasn't been easy to get it this far. And the one man I want to pay a compliment to is John Munnelly, my cohort. I know you done an interview with him there, but I'll tell you, he has stuck with me through thick and thin on this, and there was days I meant to turn back. You know, and I want to thank Mayo County Council, Minister Michael Ring, all the people that has helped us to get to where we are, and it hasn't been an easy journey.
What's this going to mean, the centre for the community here?
This is a centre of excellence for everybody. You have the Meals on Wheels, you have the boxing, you have the festival coming out of here, you have a load of different enterprises, and it's communities pulling together. If everybody does a little, a lot gets done. And that's what we're at here today. And you know the spectacular scenery we have, as I said to you one time before, it cannot be moved out of here. You know, the Troika can't take it, nobody can take it. If you want to see the beautiful scenery here in the Wild Atlantic Way, you have to come to Geesala or Belmullet or to Homa to see. The community effort is unbelievable down here. We'll have 50 or 60 people working out on the beach today, the horse racing and the greyhound racing and all that. And as I said, it's a great time to be here. And you know, this is a statement by government that they do care about rural Ireland. And I'd like to thank Pat Spillane and the programme that he put together, because we got some money from the Reds in this programme too, which was great. And Pat Spillane is a rural man from County Kerry and a very famous man, but it was the Cedar programme he done, and we managed to get funding of that to finish this fine building here. So I'm delighted to be part of it today, and I'd like to say hello to all our great friends in England and beyond that sponsors our racing and everything every year when it comes up, and looking forward to seeing you all again in August for the horse race on the 20th of August.
It's an unbelievable day. We're blessed to have such a facility here in Geesala, and the boxing club has been here forever. I believe there was a school here before the boxing club. It's great that they've made it happen, and the work of the community and all the people, and now we've got a world-class facility, and hopefully we can keep producing world-class athletes. And
well, for a small village, you've had a tremendous success and produced some great athletes, as you mentioned there, over the years.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal success story. I don't think there's any village in the world at this stage that has done what it's done. We've In the village of Geesala, there's 32 Irish titles. In the village of Geesala, I think there's about 40 houses. If there is, don't quote me on that. But it's phenomenal. And it all started here. Priest actually brought boxing to Geesala way back in the 50s. And my uncle was an Irish champion in 1959, and the club folded in the 60s. And my dad reformed the club again in the 79. And we've had phenomenal success, but it's down to the boys, the great work with the coaches and everything. And it's like the football, success breeds success. And Geesala Boxing Club, I believe, is the greatest accolade of that throughout Ireland.
Henry, a lot of people, sports fans, will be asking, you know, when is going to be your return to the boxing ring now?
Well, I really want to return. I intend to go out on a high in the next year. With God's help, I should be in the ring in the next 12 weeks. With any bit of luck, that's my dream. There's a lot of people that don't want me to go back, they want me to retire, which I could and say I've done this, I've done that, but I want to end it on my terms with God's help, and that's the plan.
So the message is watch this space.
Watch this space, God's help.
Facilities like this will be part of the future of tourism, because if you want real experience, if you want to feel real wind, real rain, on a real beach, with real people, and real stories, Geesala is as good a place as there is on the planet. So I think the future is very bright. I think this is an important step into that future. I hope you all enjoy the evening and the celebration of the success that this project is.
We're very, very thankful for all the help we got from everyone in our local community and their contribution to their sponsorship over the years of the festival, and the way that our immigrants has helped us over the year, and our volunteers. So it's wonderful, everything has come together, and it's the hard work of all the community.
This centre has took many, many years of very hard work by the community, by Councillor Jerry Kyle and John Mullally and the team. It took a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of commitment. I was glad to play a small part in relation to funding, but I have to say that with Mayo County Council and the community and all the state agency, this facility here tonight, this is what community is about. It's a credit to everybody. Glad to be here tonight, glad to be officially openers in, I suppose, in the most beautiful part of the world, in Geesala. I come down here every year for the races, but tonight was a special night. You could just feel the community spirit here tonight. You could feel everybody being proud of what we've done. And this centre will stand the time, I suppose, you know, people in 100-year time will be saying they had great foresight to actually build this. Well done to everybody involved, to Jerry Kyle, John Mullally, and the hard working committee and the volunteers. Sometimes we forget about the volunteers, the commitment and effort they put into everything.
The generosity, the concern, the compassion, the dedication to duty is something that I will never forget. And I think the community here deserves to be appreciated and respected. And I think that respect has gone right throughout the island of Ireland. And when you are prepared to help your service, Mayo County Council will always be with you.
What a brilliant success story there in Geesala, and excellent work carried out there by the whole community. Now up next we have Alan Williams, and he has some weight loss tips for us, and I'll see you after the break.
Hi folks, today's show is for all of you guys who are on a weight loss journey. I'm going to ask you to do something that you might not have heard of before, or you might have heard before. What I want you to do is really take the focus off the weighing scales. The weighing scales is only a monitoring tool, and at times it's not even your most accurate monitoring tool. With your weighing scales, it can be affected by things like water retention, it can be affected by muscle gain, which is actually a big one, especially if you're somebody who's doing a little bit of resistance training. You're going to be gaining a little bit of lean muscle, so you might not see the scales changing, but what you will notice is that your clothes are feeling looser, you feel a bit leaner yourself, and you know you're making a change to your body. So don't put everything into the scales. It can even be different from morning to evening, from weighing before and after a workout. It's going to show a different reading. So don't put everything on it. It's only one monitoring tool. What I would suggest is using a tape if you're really looking to monitor progress. Get a tape out, measure your chest, measure your waist, measure your hips, and monitor that as you go. Because if you are gaining muscle, you are going to see changes in that tape measurements. But there could be a week you come along and you say, I've lost a lot of weight this week, I can feel it in my clothes, but then the scales hasn't changed changed at all, and then you're starting to worry and you think you're doing something wrong, and maybe then you end up overhauling everything. So we want to get away from that. We want to start using more accurate monitoring tools. Body fat percentages are great as well if you have somebody who can do that for you, but if not, just get a tape measure. It's nice and cheap and it's a handy way to do it. So what I really want you to think about is focusing on your training, focusing on long-term training goals, because that's where we start to see a real difference. If you kind of start thinking about, could I run 5K, could I run 10K, could I do a marathon, start setting big goals for yourself and focus on those. If you put the work into those and you really work towards training goals, everything else takes care of itself. You're going to find the body naturally getting into shape anyway. But if you're obsessing about the scales and you're stepping on it every day, or you're stepping on it every week, you're going to end up just driving yourself mad. So try and keep that in your mind, folks. It's only one monitoring tool. It's not the be all and end all. I always kind of say to people as well, you know, if you're at home and you're stepping on scales all the time and your kids are seeing you doing that and they're seeing you getting upset about a number on a scales, is that the message you want to give to them, that it's really that important? You know, so kind of have a think about that. Have a think about what you'd want your own daughter to see, how her mindset would be. Would you rather see her fit and healthy and getting out exercising and taking a nice healthy approach, or would you rather her having to have the scales changing and getting really upset if it's not and obsessing over every pound? So think about that, guys. So it's just a small little mindset shift, but it makes a massive difference. So let's start focusing on our training, focusing on our health and overall well-being, rather than just what a scale is telling you. It's only a number. You're not defined by a number. And that's us for this week, guys.
Collins Music Castlebar, suppliers of musical instruments and books for over 100 years.
Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying the show. Next up, I headed off to Swinford for the launch of the annual Sheemshire Shroyja Festival, which is one not to be missed.
This evening we have the launch of the 33rd Sheemshire Shroyja Street Festival in Swinford, and we have quite a good few dignitaries and some people from overseas as well, which is wonderful.
It's very much geared towards the diaspora as well, and as you mentioned, you have some of them here to see.
Well, naturally it's very much geared, because that is the natural group of people that we can market to, because from this area we had massive emigration for about 100 years and more. And even to this day, we still have a little bit of emigration from the area, unfortunately. But they're the people that we market the festival to, because we consistently, they keep coming back to us. But this year we have a very particular person by the name of Jerry O'Sullivan from New York, who's going to launch and do the official opening of the festival on the 4th of August. He's a famous piper from New York, and his grandfather came from Killasser, which is within 4 miles of Swinford.
It's hard to believe that this is the 33rd year of the Sheemshire Shroyja Festival. Originally, Sheemshire Shroyja started off as a one-day festival, and then as popularity grew, it became a 5-day event. And now it has an international feel to it, as it has an appeal both within Ireland and in Europe, and also to America. People like to come to Sheemshire. It's the place where they'll meet their friends, their relatives. They can have a pint in the street, have a burger in the street, have a dance in the street, meet old loves, or maybe meet new loves. So it's great history to Sheemshire.
It's a fun festival. It's a family festival, basically. We start off with a lot of beautiful workshops the week before the festival, which attracts a lot of foreigners as well. And it's an absolutely wonderful way for people who come home, our diaspora who come home, to bring their children to go to the Irish music classes, creative dancing, drumming, and Óráníocht agus Chóra Lehéla, which these are lovely workshops. And we have lots of events then that really the diaspora love. The Heritage Day is a fantastic day in that we have a big crossroads ceilidh. We have folk singers on the street, but the streets are full of stalls and all kinds of craft people selling their wares and demonstrating at the same time, and that's a very interesting day altogether. And of course it's an emigration day as well, emigration enterprise day as well, and people get to meet one another on the streets. They hop into the pubs, the local pubs, they have a bit of crack together, a bit of fun, and they exchange a lot of greetings from last year and from maybe generations before that, yeah.
It's a massive influx of visitors for the days of the Síomsa, both commercially in the shops and then in the restaurants and in the hotels and B&Bs around the area. So Síomsa will be very important to the economic of the area.
I suppose what makes this stand out, this particular festival, is the cultural aspect of it, more so than other festivals in the region.
Yeah, the Síomsa Stráide has a very simple concept. We don't go for the big band idea. We like to support local musicians, local kids entertain on the street. It also gives them a sense of encouragement to be able to perform publicly to their peers, and it's great development in their life, I think.
Born in Mayo, but I've been living in Leicester in England this past 60 years. And I come every year for 25 years for Síomsa Stráide, for this wonderful entertaining occasion. It's an immense programme, yeah. It's bigger and better every year since I've been coming.
And what are the highlights for you?
The highlights for me is the open air dancing. I'm a set dancer myself, and I love the Ceilidh bands and the open air atmosphere.
It's absolutely fantastic, and it's by no means getting stale at this stage. In fact, it's getting bigger and better every year under the stewardship of Bríd O'Connell, that all of us know. She's a great bit of stuff. She's a powerful woman, and of course she's a very dedicated team and volunteers behind her, and she cracks the whip and they all work for her. And she starts her meetings for next year again in a month's time.
And of course the local authority play their role as well in supporting festivals like this.
We're very involved in the tourism aspect of things, and events like this in the small rural towns is very important to this part of the country, because actually, we have a great bond with the overseas. We have the Mayo Day, which is an international day all over the world. It's like similar to a mini St. Patrick's Day. We're proud of that, and we're very honoured, and I am to be able to tell them tonight that we contributed money from our municipal funding to this event, and we'll continue to do so and have been doing it every year to help in any way possible. This is at a very good time. It's towards the end nearly of the summer holidays. I think she staged it very well. The timing is very good, and that's when the people gear their holidays, the August holidays from the UK. They all come home. That's when they arrange it that way. And I do indeed. I love the Síomsa. It's a 3-day event. They have good stalls. They have great music, and the Heritage Day is a sight to behold.
I had a busy day already. I was in the department all day yesterday, but today is my first day in Mayo. Now I'm here in Swinsford at the Síomsa Stráide Festival, 33 years in existence. And Bríd O'Connell, being from Westbush, well, I couldn't let her down. She heard I was in Charlottetown and she asked me to call in, and I said I would. And I'm delighted to be here. This festival, as you know, is 33 years running. And it, very much involved with our diaspora and how important our diaspora are. And anything I can do for the diaspora, I will do it. And I'm glad, as Minister now in the Cabinet and the Minister of the responsibility I have, as you know, is rural community and development. And I'm delighted to have the role. I think it's an important role for rural Ireland in very difficult times now. We want to see what we can do to try and revitalise a lot of the town and villages, and to see what we can bring into rural Ireland. Tourism is one of the big items, and this is why this festival has been so successful. It targets our immigrants, it targets the local community, and it's something that happens in the summertime when we need to bring people into this county and into this country.
I didn't forget the track, didn't forget the playground, didn't forget the courthouse, didn't forget the community centre, and I won't. Every opportunity I get, I'll do whatever I can for Swinsford, and I get them whatever chance I can. That's my job in rural development. I'll make sure whatever I can do and assist you, I will do.
Síomsa Stráide is built on a foundation of community, and I think that 33 years is testament to how fantastic the community of Swinford actually are, and the fabulous committee that are behind Síomsa Stráide. And certainly from my perspective at Mayo County Council and all the team, they are a pleasure to work with, because they are a hugely energetic community who want nothing more but to welcome the diaspora home and to welcome people to live in Swinford. And I know from my own perspective, I moved home to Swinford having been away for 15 years. I moved home in 2008 and I've never looked back since. and I absolutely love Swinford. And a lot of my friends, a lot of my age group are now beginning to move home and set up family life here around the town. And what we've seen is a huge jump and in terms of the interest in athletic clubs and football clubs and all the sports clubs and the activities around the town and the community. So it's brilliant, and you know, we want to see a lot more of this, and with all of the really good things that are happening around the county, we now have an opportunity to really sell Swinford, sell Mayo, and really market it to those people abroad who are interested in a new experience, which is the Wild Atlantic Way and all things authentic about Mayo and Ireland.
Well, you've been involved with the festival a long time, Breach, and to your credit, you've won numerous awards for the festival here.
Yes, we have won lots of awards. I personally didn't win them. We won them on behalf of Síomsa Shráide, and that is one of the great things that we're very proud of. There's nobody taking special kudos out of it. It's just that, you know, it is a very important festival here in East Mayo. All we have to do now is entice everybody to come to it, and we're very fortunate in that our whole community is behind us, and we have almost a symbiotic thing going in the town, that lots of other organisations are coming in to assist us and for us to work together. And we promote everything in the area as well. You know, we say when you're here, visit Hennigan's Heritage Farm, go to the agricultural show, go to Michael Davitt Museum in Strayed, go to the Foxford Woolen Mills, go to the Father Peyton Centre at McHugh as well. We have lots of things. We're not thinking inwardly, we're thinking broadly.
Well, what a brilliant night there we had in Swinford, and I can't wait to go back there in a couple of weeks' time for the festival. Now we're off to Gilligan's Pub in Claremorris, well known for its Wednesday night traditional music sessions. Well, that's all from me from this week, because coming up after the break, we'll be crossing the Irish Sea once again to join Martin Logan in Manchester with more stories from the Irish community in the UK. So until the same time next week, Ihawa agus Gadesha Slán.
Collins Music Castlebar, suppliers of musical instruments and books for over 100 years.
If I was to describe Gilligan's in a couple of lines, I would say it's a friendly, welcoming, warm, charming pub, and we have good crack.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the Irish in the UK. Coming up on the show this week, we're at the National Football Museum in Manchester to honour a very special Irish footballer called Patrick O'Connell. We'll also be visiting Sue and Nick Wood, who've got a lovely shop up there in Mottram in Cheshire. Later on the show, we'll be at St Mary's Primary School in Levenshulme, and we'll be having some music from Angela Durkin and her musicians. So sit back and enjoy the show. Now, a few weeks ago, we were at the National Football Museum in Manchester to honour Patrick O'Connell, who played for the Republic of Ireland, Hull City and Manchester United.
Patrick O'Connell was born in Jones's Terrace, the 8th of March 1887, which is just across the road from Croke Park. The family moved to Fitzroy Avenue when he was very young, and he honed his footballing skills on the streets of Dublin's north side. He began his football career in Dublin with a club called Liffey Wanderers, who are from Pearse Street. During that period, he worked in Boland's Mills as a foreman at age 14. Liffey went on to win the Empire Cup, which was one of the largest junior cups in Irish football in 1904, 05, 06. Patrick was part of that team. The Empire Cup is here today as part of the exhibition. From there, he was snapped up professionally by a club called Belfast Celtic, who are one of the most famous clubs in Irish football. He spent one season there as a centre half. He scored a hat-trick against Linfield at Windsor Park, the first Belfast Celtic player to ever do that. After one season, he was snapped up by Sheffield Wednesday in 1909. He transferred for a princely sum of £25, spent 3 seasons at Hillsborough, became an Irish international, and then was transferred to Hull City. Whilst at Hull City, he became Irish captain. He captained Ireland during the British Home Championship. This was an All-Ireland team. It was before partition, and Ireland beat Wales in Wrexham 2-1. They bet England for the first time on English soil, 3-0 at Ayresome Park in Middlesbrough, and in the final match, they played Scotland at Windsor Park. They drew 1-1. Patrick broke his arm in the first half. He came out in the second half. There was no substitutions in those days. And Ireland went on to draw 1-1. They clinched the title. They were British Home Championship title winners. But also in those days, FIFA didn't exist. So they were also world champions, you know, in football in that period. His Irish cap is here today from 1914. From there, he was signed for an astronomical fee in 1914. He came to Manchester United Football Club. He was the first Irishman from the south of Ireland, what is now the Republic of Ireland, to join the club. He moved such an astronomical fee that Hull City paid, the United paid Hull City in instalments. He then became captain of the club in 1915, the first Irishman to do so. There's only ever been 3 other club captains. Jackie Carey, Noel Cantwell and Roy Keane was the last. So Patrick was a forefather. He spent 5 seasons at Old Trafford. He finished his career up at Dumbarton in Scotland, and then he began his managerial career at Ashington Football Club in the northeast of England, a place very well known for Bobby Charlton, Jackie Milburn and obviously Jack Charlton, who managed Ireland. That's where his managerial career began. He went to Spain, he went to Racing Santander in the north of Spain. He won 5 regional titles in 5 years. Pre-La Liga, it was before La Liga started. He was a founding member of that league, which is probably now one of the greatest leagues in world football, in European football. And he went on to manage Real Oviedo for 2 seasons and then went to Real Betis. And this is where it really begins, what this man achieved. He won the 2nd division title in his first season in 1931. This was a team, or a club, with a ground capacity of 7,000. Average attendance of 1,500. Within 4 years, they pipped Real Madrid by a point, and they were champions of Spain. Real Betis have never won La Liga again. From there, he was signed by Barcelona, by Josep Sunyol, who was then president. Spent 5 seasons at Barcelona, won championships of Catalan, won La Liga, what was known as the Mediterranean League during the Spanish Civil War. And he also this day, 80 years ago, the team and Patrick were in Mexico saving the club from financial ruin during the Spanish Civil War. And without that tour, which is known as the Tour of Salvation, Barcelona Football Club wouldn't exist today. And he went on he was actually banned in 1940 by General Franco. He got a pardon to come back to the country, and in 1940 by the King of Spain. He went on to manage Betis again, won the 2nd division title, won the 3rd division title, Racing Santander. Not only the only Irishman to win La Liga, but also the only man to win La Liga, 2nd division and 3rd division titles with different clubs in Spain.
Thank you, Fergus. That was wonderful. Now, Alan, 3 years ago, you got involved with all this. Tell me about it.
Yes, 3 years ago, Fergus and I and our friend Simon Needham from the northeast of England, we had the privilege of listening to a talk by Mike O'Connell about his grandfather. And when it got to the bit that he mentioned that Patrick had died in 1959 and was lying in an unmarked grave in North London, it got us interested. We researched the subject a bit more and found out that Patrick was lying in an unmarked grave in Kensal Green in North London, and we felt the least we could do to honour his achievements would be to give him a proper grave and headstone in memory of his successes in soccer.
And then, of course, you headed on a big fundraising. Tell me about that.
Yes, we started out on a huge fundraising campaign, and really what we did was we contacted managers, players, ex-players from football world, but also from Gaelic football as well, and from the rugby world, who all got interested in this story, and they sent us jerseys, autographed jerseys, to auction and raise money with. And what we asked them to do was to have their photos taken whilst they autographed them, and this gave it added provenance. So when we were selling the items, we also had the photo of them signing it as well. So that worked out really well. We raised money by going to most of the clubs that he had been associated with, including Ashington and North East of England, and to Hillsborough Park, and so forth and so on. In Spain, we were invited to go to Real Betis ground in Sevilla, and also to the new camp, which was a great occasion. All along the way, we raised money. 2 years later, we managed to raise enough money to find and fund a proper grave for Patrick in North London, and it looks quite splendid today.
Tony, you've done some wonderful paintings of Patrick O'Connell. Tell me about them.
I first started painting about 3 years ago, and I got invited to the Cheetham Irish Centre by yourself, Marty, after you heard about me painting Irish footballers. So I came along on St Patrick's Day and displaying some of my paintings there. And I first seen Patrick O'Connell on the other side of the room. He was looking at me from a flyer on the wall. And he had one of those faces, he just caught my eye, and I thought, I'm going to have to paint this guy. So I waited till the end of the evening. I walked over, had a little read about who he was, Manchester United player, managed Barcelona, and I was quite shocked. I thought, I'm a Man United supporter and I don't even know who the guy is. So the very next day, when I was at home, I thought, I'm going to paint this guy. I started painting him, and lo and behold, yourself, Marty, rings me, had a paintbrush in one hand and the phone in the other, saying, would I like to go along to the following week to the fundraising event of Patrick O'Connell. I thought, this is a bit surreal, this. I'm actually painting a guy and I've got somebody on the phone asking me to come and go towards the fundraising event of Patrick O'Connell. So I thought, and I'll finish it and I'll donate the painting. And that's when you met my daughter, when she went into the room and donated it to you when I was displaying my painting again. It's such a great guy. The guy's a maverick in what he's done. I put him on par with Mourinho. All those people, like, he must have gone to Spain with language barriers, people like saying, who's this guy here? And he actually did, like, become a legend, a forgotten legend, and to die a pauper in an unmarked grave, I thought it was disgraceful. So I hope the painting's done him some justice. He's coming around full circle for Manchester United, all the way back again in such the Manchester National Football Museum.
Janet, can you tell me, when was the National Football Museum first established here in Manchester?
In July 2012, we came from Preston North End into the city of Manchester.
And you're right here in the heart of the city centre. Of course, it's a great place to be.
It's a great place always to be. It's a special place because of what's recently happened to us. And Manchester's very important. The people of Manchester are important to us. And of course, football is at the heart of Manchester too.
Now, Craig, from a marketing point of view, of course, it must be really easy to market the museum, is it?
Oh, it's incredibly easy. Everybody loves football, everybody loves the history of football as well, but it's about trying to get people to engage with that history a little bit more, and that's what we try to do at the museum. We try to bring it to life as much as we can, and a lot of our events that we hold, a lot of the talk-ins, a lot of the various activities that we do, they appeal to all ages, all ranges of people, and it's proven incredibly popular here in Manchester. We actually have the replica World Cup trophy and the actual original 1966 World Cup final ball as well, so some really priceless sort of football heirlooms, if you like, as well, which people always take great pleasure in coming and seeing for themselves.
Of course, Janet, you referred to the problems we had here and the terrible things that happened in Manchester only a few weeks ago, but football has a great way of bringing people together.
Yes. Yes, and just yes, and it has done, and we're delighted to welcome our visitors back into the museum and for them to enjoy what we have to offer and enjoy just the whole city of being part of Manchester.
It's great to see Patrick being honoured, and well done to Tony Denton for his wonderful paintings. Now we're going to take a very short break. We'll see you in a few minutes. In part 2 we'll be in Mottram to visit a beautiful shop, and we'll also be at St Mary's Primary School in Levenshulme. See you then. Welcome back, and while you've been away I've had a lovely cup of tea. Now next up we're off to meet Nick and Sue Wood at their lovely shop up there in Mottram in Cheshire, and if you're after a hanging basket, take a look at this. Nick, can you tell me, how long has your business been established here in Mottram?
We started in 1947, not particularly myself, but my mum and dad, once they got married in March, and this moved into this property in the April of 1947. And at the time it was one of the worst winters that had ever been on record, and it was still with snow up to 20, 30 foot up to the top windows in the houses, you know, in the village. Even then it was still sub-zero temperatures. And he drove a matchless motorbike with a sidecar, and that's how he did all his deliveries back in the day. And he started off life as a carpenter, working as an undertaker and making coffins. That's how he started his career, and then he moved into the shop. Mum and Dad built it up from there, and you know, they were selling all building products, hardware, timber, glass, but over the years things have evolved. You have to move with the times, and that's where we are at today. I took over in 1983 because my dad was taken ill, long-term illness, so it was the point to where I had to make a decision whether I was going to move into the business or not, and so we did, and we're still here today to tell the tale.
And of course you've developed it down the years, and tell me about all these wonderful animals that you've got here.
Yeah, we've been dealing with these now for about 10 years, and we started off originally, we used to sell concrete moulds of ornaments, and most popular were the gnomes in those days. But since then, the gnomes have taken a back seat, and we've moved on to resin ornaments. And there's just nothing virtually we can't get hold of now. We do all sorts, like Daleks and gorillas and chimps and dogs, and you name it, we can get it.
Now, you were telling me that the horses and the sheep and the cows and stuff are very popular with Irish people.
Oh yes, yeah, we have got lots of passers-by. With being on the main road, the A57, we get a lot of passing travellers as well as wagon drivers, people on holiday. And they obviously catch us eye when they're passing, because we always put out a magnificent display on the road, and they'll find somewhere to park up and come and visit us. Yeah, so we do well from across the water. Yeah.
Sue, you're the flower expert here at the shop. Tell me a bit about the flowers that you've got on display.
We sell annuals. That means they come just once a year, but you've got masses of colour during that time. I also make hanging baskets. They are all my hard work, and my heart and soul goes into those baskets. Believe me, I've been known to take them apart and redo them if they don't look right. We get year-on-year customers. They've been coming for 18 years since I first started here. So that is the joy you get out of these flowers. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Well, that's a great recommendation in itself, that people keep coming back every time for your flowers or for your hanging baskets.
It is a great recommendation, and of course we get people recommending us to neighbours, on neighbours, on neighbours. But believe me, I have been called very protective when I turn people out with orders saying, wash them, clean your pots, make sure you water and you feed.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yes, they go out with, with orders.
Now, can you take orders for them? Do you take orders from people and make special baskets for them?
Yes, I do. And some people will come in and they'll ask for particular colours. So it may be they want all pinks or yellows and oranges. So people are very fussy about what they have. It has to be certain colours. So that's what I do. That's my job. And again, take great pride in that. When they come and say, that's just what I wanted.
So you've got a big display of baskets here now. How much time do you actually put into making the baskets and caring for them and getting them up to the standard that they are now?
From the start of the season, which is the end of April, till the middle of July, that's the time I spend doing baskets. 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. That's my job. They're like little babies. They have to be looked after.
And you dedicate your life to it?
It's dedicated my life to these baskets for about 3 months of the year. Yes, they are.
Well done to Sue and Nick. And why not call in one day and have a look around the shop? You'll really enjoy it. Now we're here at St Mary's Primary School in Levenshulme, and I'm going inside to meet John Usher and Angela Durkin. John, here at St Mary's you've been fundraising for an AstroTurf pitch for quite a long time. How's it going?
Well, it's going very well, and we've just raised the money that we need to put the AstroTurf down here at St Mary's. It's been a lot of hard work from the parents and the staff. We've done lots of fundraising, done lots of fundraising events. So, for example, we had sleepovers here for the Year 6 and sleepovers for the Year 5. We had cake sales, we did carol singing at Christmas. So since October we had a really big target to get, which was £66,000, and we've managed to raise all that money after a big hefty lump sum of £40,000 from the school. The council came in. We're really thankful to the council. They came in and they gave us £5,000. We also applied for a Tesco bid and they gave us £5,000 as well. But in total, the school, the parents, the children raised about £21,000, and then the school have topped up the rest of the money.
A lot of effort has gone into this over the last 9 months.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work, but the children, the parents, they really embraced it, and the teachers as well. Obviously, we can't have sleepovers here without the teachers coming down, so 4 members of staff gave up their time, they gave up their weekends, and they came and had a sleepover here with the kids, which the kids really enjoyed. Yeah, it was great.
What's it going to mean to the children here now at St Mary's in Levenshulme to have their own new AstroTurf pitch?
Well, it's going to mean a lot, because what it means we can do, at the moment you can see that we've just got like an area of grassland. We can't play on the land for most of the year really, because it's waterlogged or frozen or it's unsafe. So what that means now is that we can have competitions during the daytime and competitions at the end of the day as well. So we've just received Sainsbury's Gold Standard, which is a really high, it's quite a hard standard to get in terms of sport. It means that we're already doing a lot, but of course we want to do more. So what it means now is that we can run tournaments here, and local schools, without laying any more money out, can walk down here and they can have competitions: cricket, football, hockey, any competitions that they want to.
And of course St Mary's is a very active school, because you've got Gaelic football team here as well with Brenda Harkin and St Mary's GAA.
That's right, Brenda comes down a lot with all the coaches, and they come down, they don't charge us a penny for all the coaching that they do, so that's supported through the GAA, and then obviously they tap into the children that we've got here. And now I think Brenda's working really hard on Kringle Fields. They've had a big Gaelic football pitch, full size one, set up there, so from an early age here now, we get children playing Gaelic football from the age of, you know, Year 1, Year 2, Year 3, all the way through, and we tap them into the senior side. And I'd just like to thank Brenda as well, and the GAA. They contributed, I think it was £150 towards the project as well. So we'll, you know, they've scratched our back, we'll scratch theirs. You know, if they want to use a pitch free of charge, they can do as well. And we've spoken to Brenda about that.
Angela, tell me about some of your pupils now that you've got preparing for the Flower.
Well, we've got lots of them. They did really well at the North West Regional Flower. Lots of them have qualified in the solos. The bands, 2 bands have qualified under 12 and 2 group of kills under 12 as well. And then lots of children who are in up to the age groups of under 18.
Of course, it's a big weekend now for them all, going off down to St Albans to take part in this competition.
That's right. We've got 2 coaches going, one from St Mary's here in Levenshulme and another one from St Edmunds. So lots of children going. Most of them are just going for the Saturday because they're competing in the bands and groups and then the duets and trios, and they're coming home Saturday night. But then a lot of children are staying over as well for the Sunday. That's when all the solos happen. So it's a big weekend down there.
Now tell us about your classes, Angela, where they are and where you teach.
OK, well I teach in schools every day. So I've got lots of children coming up through the school system and they're competing, and then I also do a class on a Wednesday evening here at St Mary's, and that's from 6 till 8:15, and there's 4 teachers now who are here doing a range of instruments.
Now your group, well some of your group is going to play a tune for us this morning. Right. What are they going to play?
They're going to play one of the band tunes, which is just a hop jig that they're playing at the competition, and I think they're going to also play a polka for you.
Great stuff. Well, look at Angela, we wish you the very best of luck in the Flower, and we'll see you soon.
OK, see you soon. Thanks, Mark.
OK. Now, we really hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Don't forget, we are back next week again at 7 p.m. But until then, take care of yourselves, and thank you for watching. And we're going to go out with some of Angela's pupils playing a lovely song for us.